Watcher, welcome back. Okay, and today I'm going to do a little bit more on the turbo. Right, it's time for the paint work now. We've done a few jobs, as you know already. Done the fork alignment, changed the oil. What else did we do? Let's have a look. Dealt with the indicators, and yes, I know I could have just put a relay in that. Would have been easy to just plug a 10 quid relay in. That's a great way to do it. In fact, it's the right way to do it. What I did though with the resistors, they were under the seat. The guy that had the bike before me just had them there. He said there's some resistors under the seat, never got round to plugging them in. So I just plugged them in. Believe me, if they'd been splice-in type, I wouldn't have gone to that trouble. I'd have just put a relay in it. However, they were there, so I chucked the resistors in for now. I'll change it later on. I'll stick a relay on it, do it properly. So for now, the other jobs. Now, as I said, the rear shock's got to be changed because I want adjustability. I want some adjustable damping for various reasons. At the moment, I've got none. These Olin shocks on that are a set package. What you get is what you're given. There's no damping adjustment whatsoever, and they're just a 5-click ring adjustment on the preload, which is really, really basic. And although they're Olin's and that's great quality, I want adjustability, and that's what I'm going to end up with the YSS one. So they'll be coming shortly, and also the chain sprockets. Chain sprockets is up geared at the moment. The guys put a larger front sprocket on to make it a little bit more controllable in the lower gears. So he said when you're launching it and playing silly buggers around town, it's not so liable to wheelie and lift, because it is quite a powerful bike. It isn't light, but ultimately with 200 horsepower, it still lifts up under, I think he said up to about 3rd, 4th gear. If you just held the power on, it would start lifting the front up, which is great fun until you don't intend it to do that. And obviously he did that to calm it down. I want to go back to factory gearing because I just want it straight and then learn to control it from there. And I want to also, at the same time, upgrade to a 530 chain conversion, which is recommended by DID for bikes up to 200 horsepower. I spoke with the guys who sell the DID stuff at Wimoto and said, what do you recommend for, say, a Hayabusa? And they said super heavy duty 530 chain rather than what's on it, which is the factory spec. So I'm definitely keen to upgrade to that, to put a stronger chain on it to cope with the power. I think that's just a common sense thing. So there we are, shocks, chain sprockets, both to come. Got the air filter to change as well, and a few other little jobs here and there. Clutch hose has got to be changed because it's the original rubber one. Clutch is all spongy, you know, that sort of thing. But for now, it's paintwork, because this paintwork is the original factory paint. The rest of the bike is fundamentally really tidy. It's really up together. The frame powder coating is almost immaculate. The engine lacquer, it is a little tired in places, but it'll easily clean up and become immaculate again. The silver on the outside of the fins, it's a little dark, but it's just oily staining, so that will clean off with a Lloyd block. So, you know, all that will look fantastic. But the paintwork is a little bit beyond saving. It's tired, it's worn, it's gone flat, the colour's faded in the pink line, so it really does need refreshing. Also, I want to change the colour anyway. I'm not a great fan of this Saran paintwork. It's a little bit odd. It's not my taste. Some of you, maybe, I'm not saying either way. I mean, I do love, for instance, the Kenny Roberts race paint, that fantastic classic yellow and black with the black squares. If it was like that, honestly, believe me, it would just get polished and left, but it's not. It's not a nice paint job, and I'm going to be changing it. I'm going to take it black as a base, but there's going to be some artwork going on as well, but not in a Leary style, not unbefitting a muscle bike. It's going to be very classic, very muscle bike orientated, and I hope you like it. And Mackie will be coming to do that, and you know what a talented guy he is, and we'll have a little collaboration video here in the garage with him doing that. It may be, we may lacquer it, we may not, I don't know, but there's all sorts of things to come on that. But for anything else, before I do anything, I've got to get all this off. So today, you take all the bodywork off the bike, drain the tank out, undo all the plumbing so that everything's safe, and then start, once I get it all off, start on the front mudguard, which has been burnt by the heat of the headers before we put the heat shield on. So that's the first little repair job's got to be done. So let's get stuck in and stop talking. Welcome back. Little trick, I'm sure you can work this out for yourself. I'm sure you already know this. If you're doing anything like this, which involves the bike being apart for a little while and maybe not being put back together the same day, stick the screws and fasteners in the holes they came from and you'll always find them. Right, with the side panels, the badges here, I want to take these off because I want to save them. I haven't made a decision yet. I may or may not want to use them again, I'm not sure, but at the moment, at least if I keep them, then I have that option. So don't pull them off like they are. Check on the back that they're not the old school badges that have pins through. Some badges on some bikes have holes in the bodywork. Those go through and they have little plastic clips or metal clips on the back. So just make sure that's not the case and that they are like these stuck on, as most badges are. If you pull that off, you'll flex the plastic badge and you could break it, and then you've got to buy a new one. So there's, and I'm sure you've all seen this, the old dental floss trick. Grab a length of dental floss, cross it over or double it over on itself like that, and run it down the back of the badge between the surface of the paintwork and the badge itself, like that. And it will take the glue out without touching or flexing or stressing the badge whatsoever. There we go. No worries. Right, plastic paint scraper. Doesn't damage the paint and it gets the worst of the foam off. Also, it contours to the bodywork without scratching it. There we go. Right, this one's got a little break there, a little crack. You see it? A little crack in that, so I've got to repair that crack before I can bolt it back together. It goes right through the inside, so we'll have to do a little repair on that. Right, again, here's another common one. Let's just lift you up a bit. Here's another common one, the little lugs, panel lugs. They snap off, often because people don't know they're there. They take off the two screws and then just pull the panel away and it leaves that. Thankfully, the little panel lug itself, that little thing, has remained in the bike. It's stayed in the hole it came from. So I've managed to secure that and I can plastic weld that back on and repair that just like the other one. Here we go, that's it. Right, you know the drill with this one. You can do some panel lug repairs now. Cheap soldering iron, doesn't matter what wattage it is, even a 12 watt will melt a cable tie. And some old cable tie ends. I've done two videos on this. I think actually one of them's the biggest hitting video, about 700,000 hits. So I'm not going to talk about it, just going to show you. There we go. Nice and strong. It ain't pretty when you do that, but you're never going to see it, and it's got to be better than a screw back from the outside, which is an option I have seen used. But that's nice, no marks on the back. It's getting painted anyway, but there is none. Really hot on the back there, really hot. And that's just melted all the way in. Thankfully this was kind of mounted on like 4 little legs or something, and it kind of had a gap underneath it, which I think is probably why it snapped off. It was like a weak design. And to be able to feed in molten cable tie underneath it and then press it down on it, that's now going to be a lot stronger than it was when it was new. There we are. Right, panel lug repair. Let's do the crack now. There we are, a bit of plastic welding. Is that all done? You can make it smooth by smoothing it out with the iron. You just take your time. You can also, if you have to do that on the outside because you've got no choice, you can then sand it down and paint it just as normal. But there we are. Put the metal stitches in. That was a bit of MIG wire. You can use paper clip, whatever you want, bit of nail, anything. And that helps to hold the joint together and give it flexibility. Because the plastic, once it's been heated to that, is probably a bit more brittle than the rest of the original plastic, who knows. Although when I've re-broken these in the past, they've broken next to the weld, as is often the case. But look, there's only thing on that side. Don't push those stitches too far through. I think I said that on the other videos. The only sign of that is a little bit of blistering in the paint. You probably can't see, there it is. Just a little bit of blistering in the paint, which is good, because I'm painting it anyway, and that shows that the heat's gone right through the plastic, enough to blister the paint on the other side, and that means I've got a good weld that will last. There we go. Right, let's get on with it. Right, okay, that's taken out all the ridges and edges of this paint job. It was my buddy Milo who said to me years ago, use the factory paint if you can as a base coat. It's the best paint there is, and be very careful. Take out any ridges, blade out any decals. There are no decals on this. I thought this might be a decal, this fluorescent stripe, but as soon as I rubbed it I realised that it went straight through the orange and straight to white. So you can tell it's a painted line because they have to put a white base coat underneath. If it was a decal, it would be a piece of vinyl and it would be that fluorescent colour all the way through. It's very rare to get fluorescent decals. Most of them are paint to get that fluorescent look, and which is also why it faded out so much on the back edge. So it was all paint, and all I've done is just blocked it out, started with a 240 grit, gone down to a 400, and now I've got, you can't feel anything now. And that's the aim, trying to take all those ridges and lines out, because the minute you put a satin black coat over it, you're going to see them all again. And I'm prepared for that. I might see them here or there and I can just block them out and deal with it. It's not a problem, but I've got rid of the worst of it. So that's that one done. Next one is the side panel, or the sides of the tail panel, and then I've got to do the mud guard, which has got that damage on it. So let's do this bit next. Oh, there we go. That's dealt with all the ridges, all the edges all gone. I've still got to bust the shine off the smooth bits. That'll be a final rub down before paint. This is just repair, refurbishment, so that it's ready to paint. Dealing with the big lumps. Got some chips there, got to be filled. Come back to those. Next thing, let's deal with that wounded mud guard. Okay, there we are. Just gone through just there with the edge of it, just the base coat. Just took it really down to the primer. But because I've just gone through a couple of times, I'm just going to put a little bit of primer over that and just let that dry, just so it's an even coat, because that's too thin there now. I can't put top coat on that. I want to just put a little bit over that to build it up and just repair that just a little bit more before I can then start busting it all down. Let's put some on that. Right, there we go, drying times, you know how it works. Probably 24 hours before I can come near that. I can do that tomorrow, so that will be for the video for Saturday that you'll see. That's really the name of the game with paint, as you probably know. It's preparation all the way down the line. I've learned a lot from the people I watch and the people I listen to and talk to, professional people who do it, like my buddy Mackie and of course Milo taught me some great tricks, and this is one of them. Learned this from Milo. So basically get down through those ridge lines, get them as flat as you can so you can't feel them, and then over that area just bang some thick primer. I've used the filler primer because that's really good stuff. Get it over the top there, give it 24 hours to dry, then I can block sand down through that. That primer will highlight, it's one uniform coat, so kind of like a guide coat. It'll visually highlight any ridges I've missed. I'll be able to come back to them and take them off, but without going through the paint, because at some point, or various points on this, I was right down to the primer, and I don't want to go any deeper than that, certainly don't want to go to the bare metal. So on this heated plastic on the mudguard, I was a little bit worried that that might have got really hard and brittle because of the heat, but not at all. It literally just blistered the top coat, and I've sanded all that back just to the primer. As you saw, that was really good. Whacked all that primer on top of it. Now I could, if there's any ridges or any imperfections in it or any of it, I can just go over it tomorrow in my time, real time, and sand it all back so it's really nice, and then finish off top of the tank, all the rest of it, and bust it all down with that 400 grit so it's ready for paint. And I'll probably put 6 coats of Tough Black on that, and that will then need a week to dry before we can call the artist himself. So there we go. That's enough chat. That's 6 hours. 6 hours. Paint takes ages. There we go. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. Ride safe. See you next time.